Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the all-new episode of Holotheatre Season 5, Episode 1. Here we go. As always, I'm Dan. And joining me tonight for the first time this year is Mr. Garrett Larson himself. Garrett coming to you from the shores of Lake Superior. How's the weather up there, sir?
It is cold and it is snowy and it sucks.
I hear it's cold, snowy, and sucky everywhere. So it kind of goes with
Kinda.
the normality. So tonight we have an exciting episode. We're going to talk about what's coming on with Star Wars this over the next few weeks and next few months. Uh, Supposed to have Matt Wadded on, as you can see. Unfortunately, he has not joined us yet. So we'll be hopefully we'll have him on as we can. But yeah, let's first things first. Let's go ahead and talk about what's going on with Star Wars CCG right now in the world. The first thing, of course, is we're in game 4 of the Jawa Cup. We've got a bunch of different players involved in the cup, and right now it looks like David Woods is sitting at. He's played 4 games. He's got 10 points. He's sitting up there at 3-1, and then after him, we have. It looks like we have 7 players, or I'm sorry, 6 players at 3-0, including. I want to say that we got Johnny Chu at 3-0 and Benji at 3-0.
Well, they are playing each other this week.
They what?
Yeah, the pairings, Johnny and Benji are playing this week.
Oh man,
So they will be
that's gonna be
that'll
fun.
be fun.
Yeah,
So,
and
well, fun for us to watch. I'm sure
yeah,
for them it may not be.
it's gonna be a little nerve wracking.
Yeah.
I mean, but the fact that it's funny. Looking at the standings right now, Johnny's at 55% opponent wins percentage. Benji's at 44, so it's still rather close.
Yeah, there's still a lot.
There's
I
still.
mean, we're week 4, so we got 3 games left. There's going to be,
Oh yeah, yeah.
there's still going to be some movement. So,
Yeah, I just hope to go with 500.
I'm 2-1 right now, and I play Eric on Monday. So that'll be
Eric.
Eric, who I'm not going to embarrass myself and him by mispronouncing the heck out of his name.
Oh,
Eric
Eric
S.
Spixma.
That could be it.
Yeah, Eric, Team Europe. Europe.
Yes, Eric from the Netherlands, who we worked around. I could play on a holiday, so it worked out for both of us.
Oh, that's nice.
Because this week I'm kind of busy streaming something. What is it we're streaming this weekend?
Well, let's get. I don't know, but maybe it's called the Supreme Southern Showdown, the first one ever. It's going to be starting this Friday at January 12th at 6 p.m. is the first event. Again, that is the Throto Cube Spectacular. Seems kind of fitting that we're in Throto's backyard. Uh, However, the main event starts Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Again,
10 a.m. Eastern, probably.
tomato. It starts at 10.
Yeah,
Uh,
they'll get there.
yeah, I mean it's either 10 or 2200 if you're military. But yeah, 10 a.m. So we're gonna go start. We're gonna start live at 9:45. Well, actually, no. According to the PC site, the tournament starts at 9:45. So we'll start streaming at 9:30.
Sounds like a plan.
And
We'll
then,
be
I mean, we've got a bunch of good players there, so we'll talk about those guys in a second or in a couple minutes after we get through the news. And then on Sunday, again, the main event, the top 8 starts at 10 a.m. Eastern, so we'll be starting the stream at 9:45. So again, this is the first major of the year coming to you from Atlanta. So place your bets on Mr. See if let's see if Mr. January goes 3-0 in January the last 3 years.
I mean, it is on his home turf.
I thought he moved.
I thought Drew was still in Atlanta.
I think I don't know. I mean, it'd be
I
nice
know
to
he
have
does
Drew
some.
on. to find out that information.
I
But
mean, I know
he's
he does some traveling, but
yeah,
I thought he was still in Atlanta.
yeah.
I mean, if he wins it, we can have him on next week and ask him.
That's a good point. I like
That
that.
won't sound stalkerish at all. Where exactly do you live now, good sir?
I mean, we got to know. Inquiring minds want to know where Drew Lichtenstein lives. I see that we have Large Port joining us for in the chat. He's currently down there with Drew, so maybe you could find out for us, Tommy. Where does Drew Lichtenstein live, work, play Star Wars, and
Exact addresses would make it a little bit easier. I'm not saying you got to
yeah,
put them out in public, but like,
it'd be kind of fun to see
it's
it in public.
make it a little easier to track him down. But we'll
Yeah.
take whatever you can get, Tommy. So I'm honestly having a little FOMO about not being down there.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think.
especially when I had to brush off my car 4 times today.
Don't get me started.
And, like,
I mean, I'm here's the best thing. Like, I'm technically working a half day tomorrow, so I could theoretically get on a plane and go down.
okay.
So if anybody really wants to fly me out there, I'm not saying you should, but maybe you should.
Yeah, that's won't be me because if I was flying out there, I'd fly myself out,
Yeah, I
and
know. You're not nice
I
enough. Uh,
I'm really not.
and then coming up really soon, we just had the I think it was 6 days ago. We had the announcement and the pairings for the Outrider Cup. That's going to be starting soon. Again, if you're looking to see who is all in the Outrider Cup, there's the list of the teams right now. And then as for the pairings, again, the illustrious, the man with the plan, he's also in Atlanta, enjoying the warmth of camaraderie, friendship, and
Looked like barbecue according to
barbecue.
Slack.
Yeah, barbecue and ice cream.
Yeah,
Chris
that's
Schoenthal went through the matchups, so we have the matchups are all decided. There he is. There's Mr. Matt Wadden.
hey Matt.
What's up?
Not too much, but we're going through like what's going on in Star Wars CCG. So again, the talking about the Outrider Cup, the how we have the pairings are set and they're posted on the forums. Again, our tournament advocate Chris Schoenthal handled that last week.
That show is on the YouTube
It is
channel as well. Makes for kind of good watch because Chris did it at a time that Europe could watch and
yeah.
normal people had to go to work. So
Yeah,
it's a fun watch.
It made it a little interesting. Forcing myself to take my lunch at that exact moment so I could watch it.
So
And then we have the Batmouse's 8th annual Gem PC. Signups for that are going on right now. So make sure you guys all sign up for that. Registration deadline is Friday, January 26th, so that we can start off on the Gem PC. We are currently sitting at 81 players. I see that. Garrett,
Nice.
you're signed up.
I am.
Matt, you signed up today, so I'm glad to see that you signed up. A lot of big name players are signed up already for this, including, let's just go down the list right here. We have Batmouse himself, Mike Kessling, who is hosting the Supreme Southern Showdown. Timo Dussel, who I believe was a top 8 last year. I could be wrong.
I mean, he was top 2 in the OCS, so like,
Yeah,
he gets
he gets somewhat of a pass.
yeah. Well, Batmouse will at least make him a 4 seed.
I don't know. It's Batmouse.
So
It is Batmouse.
I don't see Tom yet, which feels like the chance for Batmouse to underseed him is
It's
slipping
gonna happen.
away. He's
But let's see. We got Brian Fred on here, Matt Harrison Trainer, who again is in Atlanta. Looking on down the list, we have Connor Britton, who top 8'd last year. Tom Kelly, who has been coming back into the game, so I'm glad to see him on there. Chris Kelly, the 2023 Carillion League champion himself, Brad Iyer. Kuhn, I'm not going to say your last name because I will butcher it. Joe Olson is on there. Chris Werfs, Scotland
There's
Grell.
this is going to be a good tournament.
Yep.
This is going to be a challenge for anyone to
Sam
get
Tashima.
through.
The 2023 Holotheatre Guest of the Year. Brian Avery has already signed up. Justin Branch, Eric Spixma, who again you're playing in the Jawa Cup. Matt Wadden, and then Jared Napolitano, our No Fun Police, has already signed up as well. So everybody get signed up, play in it. It's always a good time. And what better way to show Batmouse a little bit of love? And then
Yep.
coming up, we also have the 2024 Star Wars CCG Online Retro League. Again, just to sign up for that. The deadline to sign up for the league is, again, January 26th, same as the Gent PC. And then on Monday, it is the last day to do the first batch of the donation programs. Again, you'll still be able to donate until March 31st. However, Monday is the last day to get in the first the first batch of it. So to get those extra
The
incentives.
whiteboarder, yeah, the foil sheet.
Yes.
So that's going to be pretty. I'm looking forward to mine showing up. So,
And then last but
I,
not least, it is already time to sign up for the OCS. You can do that via the store. You can pay for February; it's only $10, or you can save yourself $10. Sign up for all 6 months by paying $50. So
super worth the $50.
yeah, if you're gonna play it,
Awesome,
if you're gonna play and do
awesome
well,
participation foils. If you're going to play, it's fun.
yeah, but you got to do well.
I mean, doing well is more fun, but like, it's good for me. I use it. It forces me to play the games.
That's fair.
Like without the OCS, I haven't played as many games this month. And
I don't think anybody's played a lot of games in the OCS yet.
well, just in general. Like, yeah, I mean, this is almost April level OCS, but we're getting there.
So that's all we got for the news. Let's get into it with our good buddy Matt. Talk to a little bit about you. We're gonna find out about because I think this is really the first time that you've been on Holotheatre as our guest. Uh,
Yes, that's correct.
so a lot of people know who you are just because you show up to events in Philadelphia Flyer jerseys, as well as fuzzy attire. So, but let's find out about who you are as the Star Wars player. So, what got you into the game, and how long have you been playing?
I started playing, I think 97. Someone in elementary school got the game, so I think I asked for it for Christmas. Uh, and then actually, he moved away, and then I said, "Oh, I don't want it anymore," but someone had already bought it for me, so I started playing. Um, I played up through. I stopped playing when Tatooine came out. I was kind of
Hmm.
starting to lose interest, and then seeing all this pod racing and fully immune Jedi that weren't restricted to anything, I thought was kind of dumb. Um, but I was only really playing in locals in Northern Virginia. I didn't travel to anything. Um, I was one of the few 11, 12-year olds that would actually win events. Not that I won consistently, but I did win a few local events. Um, so I stopped playing, I think 2000, and then a couple times I considered getting back into it. I think once around 2009, and then 2010. Um, but the V cards plus having to learn all the episode
Hmm.
one stuff was a little too intimidating. And then in 2014 with the reset, that's when I actually started playing again.
Okay.
Um, I was living in San Diego, so there were uh, local events to go to, and Gemp was just starting, so I could play essentially retro matches on Gemp to kind of slowly get back into it. That's when Gemp was only coded up through Hoth and Cloud City or so. So everything was a retro match.
Oh wow. Yeah. So, what really got you back into the game at the reset?
I had bought a bunch of cards in 2013, and like been opening packs as well. So I'd kind of wanted to get back into it, but then um, when it got reset, there were just so many fewer cards to learn. I felt that barrier wasn't there, and there was an event at Kevin Shannon's old house in San Diego that was pretty close, so I decided to just go for it.
So now you've been playing since then. You've been uh, kind of like so. Did you when did you move back to like Philadelphia and get back into the scene out there?
I moved to New Jersey in 2018.
So now we know you as like one of the Coruscant players. You've won the Coruscant League a couple of times. You've made a few top eights back in events. Like I know you top eighted Worlds first time at Morristown.
Yeah, the 2018 one. I've also never won the Coruscant League. I just won the regionals a few times.
Just a few regional championships, no
Yeah.
big deal.
Yes.
So since then, uh, but more recently though, we know that you went to the Connecticut event that was on New Year's Eve weekend. Uh, how was that?
If you got the visas, you should watch that video. That was really fun. The mid game concert. Uh, when I figured that I there was no chance of me going to Atlanta, I was able to sell my wife on coming up to this. So I left Friday night. I stayed in New Haven, got some pizza, uh, and then drove up Saturday morning. Uh, I've been playing a lot of Imperial troops have entered the base, just the
Mm-hmm.
Walker's objective uh, on Gemp because it's kind of a fun deck. We get to blow stuff up. And then I brought some Save You at Can for light side because I already had that deck built and I was too lazy to build two new decks on uh, Friday afternoon.
I love that laziness is a reason for people to play what they have. So like
That's just honest, dude.
I know that's
Like,
honest, but I mean
I stuck with Huntdown in Ohio because I didn't feel like resleeving 10 or so cards. I had walkers completely built other than moving like 10 cards. And I was like, that sounds like work and I'm tired. And we just hung out in Travis's basement. So I guess I'm playing Huntdown tomorrow.
that's fair. So did you stay uh, like Saturday night? Did you enjoy yourself after the event?
I hung out for about an hour afterwards and then had to go so I could get back Saturday.
Okay. So what were the highlights except for like the halftime show? As somebody who wasn't there, saw all the coverage, saw Tommy doing large porch things. What was the highlight?
Like having all that art there, that not just the Corporal Beezer painting, but like the whole house. Since Frodo Light's wife is an artist, there's just art everywhere, so it looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much all three buildings are just covered with like paintings. So it's like a very beautiful house on the inside. And then he had a bubble table set up in one building, and then um, one game that was played in the back building. I ended up playing someone that came in from Colorado in the first game, and he kind of felt like I did when I first played at local events in 2014. Like he didn't have all the cards, so he didn't
Oh.
he wasn't asking for stuff and wasn't
Mm-hmm.
was just playing kind of down cards that he should have played. With the hyperdrive generators gone, we'll need a new one deck. So that wasn't really a competitive game. I easily won that one. He did get a mechanical failure out on a walker once, but didn't really have the guys to uh, put a big blow out there.
Still, I mean, when was the last time you played against somebody playing mechanical failure?
Probably never.
I mean, I think I used to play it when the original Walker deck was legal. I mean, that right there should just show you how long, like how my age of playing. Um, so I know that you said that you had the mind which you have learned already built. That's what you played, correct?
Yes, that's also what I played at Worlds. Although I changed the version around a little bit to have more space in it, so it was a little closer to what Scotland Grell's version was. Um, I was kind of worried about some kind of gimmick decks that might be out there,
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to have one system where I could just drain in case the opponent wasn't doing much. There actually was one gimmick hunt down deck that I absolutely would have lost to because it just played ties and space weapons.
Yeah.
So had I played that, it would have just shot all my ships and I would have forfeited because it didn't play any battleground sites.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not.
think
I don't remember
Uh,
specifically who played that.
we had that on stream because I
we did.
remember telling Dan, like, he can actually use Vader's ability in the med chamber to
Yeah.
draw destiny in space, and Dan was like, I gotta look these cards up.
Yeah,
So,
that was probably one of the matches I had to look up the most cards, and I will say that like the event looked fun, but at the same time, I want to say there was how many people playing mine which you have learned, and I know you played it. I think Ed played it as well.
No, he played a Tatooine careful planning
That's
deck
right.
yeah.
with Forced Servitude and BB-8
Yeah,
or
that's
Faithful
his
Servitude.
deck was the more annoying deck, even though there
Yeah.
was a mine which you have learned at the event
Mhm.
because just of like some of the cards that he was playing in the deck, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, he played the Tremor in the Force that stops you from activating. He played a scanning crew in his dark deck, so
Yeah.
a couple shielded things that you don't really expect to see. Um, so my second game was Save You It Can up against Mike Pistone's. I want that map, and now you'll give it to me. Um, I was able to kind of stay alive, kind of do better on the ground with -1 destinies,
Mm-hmm.
and the Great Warrior stopping his force drain bonuses really slows that deck down a lot as well. And then I actually, in space, I lost the Kiffic system. And then I realized that I needed to deploy it, but I had Uneta in my hand. So I got it back and then deployed Tantive and uh, Fleet Admiral Akbar and a few other characters there. And so uh, I was able to kind of start destroying some of his space stuff. And then he was able to bring a lot down on ground. I think he Ellised once, but um, I had a Hujix once. And he was never able to get a big beat down in. And I was just able to kind of kill more characters than he could.
Nice.
Um,
So after playing Mike in the first game, who else did you play?
I played Ed twice.
That's right.
Yeah, so he was playing Tatooine CRV deck for Dark Side.
Mm-hmm.
Started Jabba's Palace and was tracking a lot of sevens. Um, I think he made some mistakes in that game, which he otherwise could have won. I had kind of a weak start, not being able to find Daughter of Skywalker, and then he scanning crewed her back, and my on his second turn, she was the bottom card in my force pile as well. Um, he had three grabbers out all game, but see you around kid he never grabbed. I played it a couple times,
Mm-hmm.
once just to get it back, so I was under 15 cards at hand, and two or three times to get a card from force pile.
Okay. Nice.
But when he's scanning crew Daughter of Skywalker, I put Anakin Skywalker with Great Warrior down. Jedi tested him instead. The only difference with Jedi testing him, other than you need to have him in your hand to deploy him, is that you can only draw one destiny for Mind What You Have Learned, Save You It Can, which you would otherwise draw two and choose one if you
Mm-hmm.
have Luke or Leia there. The Jedi tests go on him, but that part's irrelevant unless you were to land on Dagobah and kill him.
Now, have you experienced anybody coming down to Dagobah and trying to kill Leia or, in this point, Anakin?
No, it's kind of pointless because the you have land speed 2, I think from at
Mm-hmm.
peace or something gives you land speed 2, so you would
I feel
just
like Jedi
avoid
Test 2 does as well.
yeah. Um, yeah, you would just avoid fighting them, and maybe they can get a non-battleground drain in, but then they still have to defend other stuff if they try to kill Yoda or the apprentice. You would just avoid fighting.
So I know we did the stream of your last game, your Walker versus Ed's Tatooine CPV deck. Um, so how is that Walker deck? I know you said you like it; it's fun because you blow stuff up. But I know a lot of people are like, well, SSA Walkers was a lot better. Uh,
At yeah, SSA Walkers was a lot better. This deck that has a bad activation starts 4-2 ratio. Um, you really only want to pull the Wampa Cave with the objective because the mountains, is a one activation drain two site. So you want to avoid that one. Um, like I was playing with You Cannot Hide Forever, which pulled the Rendili or Carita system.
mm-hmm.
So that was all my activation, which is only 10 icons. Uh, so the deck really needs like some additional activation early on to be competitive because against decks like the Skywalker Saga that give you nothing, you're kind of screwed. You can't get out turn one. There's a lot of pulls that if you miss them can set you back. Like you could activate the epic event on the first turn, and then you couldn't move over. You have to play multiple Blizzard ones, or you could miss that pull with Veers because that's your best walker by a good margin. Um, you could also miss pulling one of the AT-AT cannons, especially if you're only playing one on that following turn. Uh, and so, like the light decks that don't give you any activation are the toughest there because they can usually get stuff out and challenge you on Hoth before anything else. And then decks like Quiet Mining Colony, Independent Operation, if you can't, you have to play 2 or 3 masterful moves, and if you can't cancel Celebration, you just lose. You kind of have to find Decree and the masterful move combos against that.
So what's it good against?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, it just automatically wins against Echo Base operations.
Fair.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the only deck it is good against?
Uh, actually did decently well when I played it against its Save You It Can. And it can do okay against some kind of gimmicky decks where you blow the generators, um, or your opponent just tries to come at you and gets trampled and you hit their guys and you can put down a lot of big power. Um,
So it's kind
or
of
if you find those masterful move combos against uh, decks that are playing Celebration and you'll win. There's also a lot of luck in blowing up the generator, since if you just have control of the third marker, you need a 5. So I think in the game there, it took me a couple tries to hit because I had, I think, that and the 5th marker. So I only occupied one, so I needed a 4 and 3 or 4 in some cases. But if you keep missing, that really sets you back. But if you hit it on the first try, you're kind of ahead in the game because you get the extra attrition and retrieval, um, and you may start your landing starts doing more damage. So there's some matchups that can kind of be decided by whether you hit it on the first try or it takes you a couple tries to do it.
So, as somebody who plays the deck, what would you want to see to kind of like make it better?
Um, Probably something like activation, like We Have a Plan, They Will Be Lost and Confused has, where when you're on the 0 side, you get like 1 extra activation per turn. Because I think with how it's set up, so you can't deploy other Dark Jedi other than Vader, and you may start your landings limited to 1 force. It's not going to be like a platform deck. So you could give it some bonuses to kind of help what it does, but giving it that extra 1 activation per turn would really speed it up. Um, I think Some people when I played online don't realize that the third marker is not a battleground or that you can't deploy there, or that Dart can't deploy there. Um, I think people realize that the deck becomes a little bit weaker because I think when I played against Ed, he could have played Simple Tricks and Nonsense
Mm-hmm.
and stopped one or two drains, but I'm not sure. I thought he was just holding on to play a different shield, but then he played it on later. Um, Also, the Hoth system kind of sucks because um, you can't play Maul's Infiltrator, Emperor Shuttle because the Emperor and Maul aren't allowed. So you have Mara in the Decimator and the Star Destroyers. Those are, especially the Star Destroyers, are kind of expensive, and that's just a drain two system if you don't if you can't hold it. Some kind of like better Hoth system, drain -1 while your walker controls a marker site, something like that could help as well. Uh,
Okay. I think we have Tommy casting the show today. So, and Chris Kelly and Drew might be watching at this point. So maybe they'll take some of your ideas into consideration with some sets that are coming up.
no, its other really bad matchup is the light side speeders objective. The Empire knows we're here. Prepare for ground assault. The power harpoons are tough to stop. I played double close call. You really have to kind of get lucky finding that, and then hope you can kill the speeder somehow.
Yeah.
Against weaker players, they'll just deploy the speeder, and then you just trample it. But better players will know that you have to deploy it to an adjacent site first, and then deploy the pilot and move it over.
Makes sense. So I know that you have been again. You're one of the like a good player, so you kind of know what's going on with the players as a whole. You've been doing the fantasy game on the forums for a while now. How did you get to do? How did you get to do that? And like, how do you rank the players?
I think I started doing it because no one else was. I think you may have done it once or twice, but it wasn't someone like consistently doing it. And I thought a lot of the rankings were wrong because the top players were undervalued considerably. Like it used to be, the top player would be like 40 points, so you could really have maybe the best, second best, and like the sixth best player on your team. Um, so I just changed it some to make the top players cost a lot more. Although I also use kind of the input from previous contests. If a player gets picked a lot that was, a 10-point player, I'd probably move him up to 15, even if, he wasn't actually all that good or didn't do well, just because if a lot of people are picking someone, that's kind of a demand signal that'll push someone up. Um, and then in the Google sheet that I made, it tracked how many majors someone's been at and how many times they've won or top eighted. So that gives a good idea as well. And then I look at kind of the last year of events to see someone like, Bat Mouse or Sam Tashima that have, were historically weaker but have been doing much better kind of recently. And then kind of conversely, players that, were good a couple of years ago but have been kind of really
Mm-hmm.
underperforming the last few years or the last year or so.
So like I know that you mentioned him, but how do you justify putting Batmouse at 40 points?
It's mostly the demand signal because he was at either 35 or 40 for Endor, and he was on an awful lot of teams. He was on like 11 teams there, so that's what's keeping him high. Plus, kind of that recent performance. If he was at 40 and nobody picked him, like unless he won the event, he would move down.
That's fair. So I noticed like you have Hayes Hunter right now as the single highest player. He's at 55 points. You have Matt Harrison Trainer, Joe Olson, Greg Shaw all at 50. Like I know that like Joe has made he's won events like in a while. Like, is there anybody besides those players that are looking like a favorite to you to go home with this event?
I mean, I think those are the favorites. And then you could look, the players one below that, like Drew Lichtenstein and Kessling and stuff. They also have a chance that. I mean, usually one of the higher ranked players ends up winning the event,
Mm-hmm.
even if you'll see some lower ranked players make the top eight. Because I think kind of the skill gap on day two is much higher than day one. The better players tend to win on day two a lot more than on the first day. So when those better players do make it into the top eight, they tend to win. That's we've kind of seen historically. I mean, I know when I've made top eights, I've typically lost to better players for the most part. The times that I've won have been times, when I face someone making their first top eight or someone that's, um, not one of the top end players. Um, so yeah, that kind of playing the two match play games and having a team especially to help you out in what you're going to build that day, rather than just being able to make the right meta call or get the right matchups in day one is very important. So that's why we typically see. Um, well, we typically don't see one of the lower ranked players make it far on day two.
Okay.
Right, it has happened, but I think with Jeff Levine and Brad Reinhold at the indoor finals a few years ago, they were
Yeah.
both fairly low ranked because they weren't kind of well known at that point. But they've since moved up a lot because they made it that far.
So I know you tend to participate in this event, this little game as well, correct?
No, I stopped participating at some point. I figured that if I make the rules, then I don't need to enter as well.
So okay, so unofficially, this is not an entry. I want you to pick your players who you would pick right now.
Um,
I like that the guy who put it together has to think hard about this,
Yeah.
because I think that means everyone is priced about right. Like the fact that he doesn't have an immediate, here's my value pick,
Like
yeah,
I would have said something like
is
Batmouse
interesting.
isn't worth the 40 points, but I mean he clearly shut me up this past year.
yeah. Yeah, I would probably look at who other people were picking first and then pick different people because a lot of winning is kind of having a unique team, not having a team where you have two players that a lot of other teams have.
Mm,
So getting kind of a more unique team means if those players do well, you're probably gonna do well as well. Whereas if you're one of the 12 people that have Batmouse on your team and he does well now 11 other people are doing well, so you have to rely on kind of your
true.
other picks to do well. uh, I haven't looked through what the entries are yet. I'll update that tomorrow morning.
I think about every other team has got Carl on there, so
Yeah, I mean Carl.
he's either underpriced or a lot of people just really like Carl,
Why
and
not
maybe
both?
both.
Why not
I
both? I
mean,
mean,
Yeah,
like
I
Carl.
think yeah, as someone that's never made a top eight, it's hard to like rank someone all that high. So I mean, I put him at 15 because he was also a popular pick at Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
and I think
I can't really,
15's a
yeah,
reasonable price. Like he's a
yeah,
guy that you feel like is potentially good enough to slide into a top eight, and he continues to improve. So that's like that reasonable next step.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
So that was my logic in picking him. Like I had to fill a 15-point slot, and I'm like, one of these days, Carl's going in there.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
my
I mean,
my
there's
only
So
thing is like we have Barry who's made a top eight. We have Robbie who's made top eights. They're both at 10. Like, is that just because they
yeah,
haven't really played?
they haven't played
yes,
nearly as much. I mean, Carl's been
yeah.
currently playing.
There's a recency bias on some of those. Guys that played a lot more, in the past, but haven't played as much recently.
I mean,
And I think a lot of times you see someone will get picked a lot because they're someone that they're like the best at their point level, and a lot of people will need like a 15 or 10 point player, so um, they'll pick kind of the consensus best player at that point level.
that's fair. So, what else was I gonna have? So, I know again, you're one of these players who kind of knows like the rankings of the players really well. So, what are your thoughts going into the Outrider Cup? We have the matchups; they're already set. We know what the decks that they're playing too. Have you looked at any of those yet?
I looked at a few of them. Some of them are kind of hard to know what deck it is, but just based on the deck type, like the Yavin 4 operations, the Time to Fight is Now deck.
Mm-hmm.
Could be like the Bat Mouse version with Jedi Business, or it could be the space only version, and those kind of play a lot differently. Um,
True.
uh, Let me take another look here.
Like I think the one that really stands out to me is Hayes Hunter playing Hunt for the Droid General. Like I know Hayes last year was playing Obi-Wan communing pretty much the entire year. To see him now play Hunt for the Droid General is a little interesting.
I know
Yeah,
Hayes and I talked some at Worlds, and he said they were real in on clones. They were struggling to figure out a way clones beats walkers, which at the time was a valid, like, walkers, SSA walkers was a
That's a good
legit
point.
deck.
Yeah.
And I know, I had to play Hayes early. One of the rounds of that ended pretty quickly for obvious reasons. And he finished another round real early where we went and waited for lunch together and chatted. And Hayes and I have known each other for a long time and get along well. And yeah, that was one of the things he and I chatted about, is because the question had come up earlier, like how many clones decks would make
Mm-hmm.
top 8. I think Kendall put it on, and I was like, I don't think any will. It's an interesting deck, but I'm not sure it's there yet. And
Yeah,
Hayes is like, we were so close to everybody bringing clones. You have no idea.
yeah.
Like,
I think
I'd love
Wayne
to
went
see it.
4-0 with clones, and then he lost the play-in game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, so I'm not really surprised to see that on there, especially when they have to pick 6 different decks.
That's true.
Kessling is already playing communing, so couldn't play that one twice.
And then looking at like the European decks, kind of the same. Like I don't see there's really any surprises that stick out to me. Maybe Cedric playing We Have a Plan. But
And not really, like you could see that fitting in as like your 6th deck choice somewhere.
mm-hmm.
If you don't play Decree Virtual, it can be very hard to beat for some dark decks. Like when I with walkers, I would just instantly concede until I put Decree Virtual in the deck, because it's if you don't play it, you just lose.
Okay.
Um,
And in a format like this where you got to pick 6 different decks, like one that you can say, well, this can win. I think the biggest problem with that is, you're playing against it now. So, like, you've got to be, you can kind of figure out the line. Like, it's a
Mm-hmm.
straightforward deck.
yeah,
You
there's
kind of
not really
know.
many different variants of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the matchups on here look kind of one-sided, like Old Allies, We Need Your Help against Revenge of the Sith Maul version. I mean, that one could go. Um, that one seemed like Old Allies is fairly favored there. Uh,
Yeah, like I'm definitely interested in seeing the clones versus Agents of Black Sun because again we talked about that one. Um, Timo playing for base operations versus Joe playing Agents of Black Sun. Again, another one that I'm interested in seeing.
yeah,
Um,
if he plays the Jedi Business one, he's got a chance. If he's playing all space, Agents of the Black Sun, Vengeance of the Dark Prince will just annihilate any all space light decks.
yeah. And
I,
let's
I can't imagine it's an all space
Mhm.
version. We'll see.
Brian Fred playing Diplo versus Kieran playing Endor Operations. That just can be a one-sided matchup if Kieran goes down pretty early against like the Tantive, but that's a big if.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it used to be with strike planning and General Kenobi getting Tantive back, or if you have other ships in your hand. So it's not terrible anymore, but it's definitely favors the Endor operations Imperial Outpost deck.
Definitely, yeah, definitely agree. So I know that we'll be streaming those games as we get the when they're scheduled and everything. So definitely interested in those. So before we go into our trivia card challenge, I want everybody to pick a. Let's go around. I want to see a top. I want to hear the top 8 from everybody right now. And we're gonna start with you, Garrett.
Top 8 for this weekend.
This weekend, because again, this starts on Saturday.
Let me pull up the list here again. Registered players. Let's see here. Top 8. I think maybe still a home team, maybe not. Drew Lichtenstein.
Okay,
Kessling's a maybe. I think Ryan Serson's going to pull a top 8.
I mean, he is kind of holding down the field against everybody. I know, Matt, he's one of your teammates, and I hear he's the only Team Moneyball player out there. So,
yeah, he's the only one going.
I'm going to say AJ gets one. And then I think we're going to go Hayes, Joe, MHT. We're up to 6.
You more than that.
B. Fred and Shaw.
So you said AJ, Ryan,
Drew,
Kessling.
No, I said I wasn't sure about Kessling.
Okay, so no Kessling?
I think Kessling put in so much work getting everything going, and with his new role as advocate, I think he's going to be tired.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be more worried about everybody else having fun. And I don't think he's going to get there.
When was the last time an advocate won a major?
I mean, it doesn't happen very often.
No. So, okay. So you said AJ, Ryan, Drew, Joe, Hayes, MHT, so 6, and then you had B. Fred and Shaw.
B. Fred and Shaw.
Okay. And okay, so I'm gonna go Joe. I'm going to go Jeremy DePaulo. He doesn't play, but when he does, he makes top 8s.
Yeah, he's a good player.
I actually want to see who I picked in my fantasy team. Because I have Jeremy and I have Joe. I think I have one more new ally.
Well, they are like a third of the field. So.
Yeah, I know. It's not fair. There's too many of them.
Well, they're all allies. That's how it works.
Joe, Matt Scott, and Jeremy DePaulo. So those are my 3. On top of that, let's go Hayes, MHT. That's 5. Now for some fun picks. Casey, 6. I would have picked Casey, but I'm going to go Drew as 7. And then I'm going to go with my surprise pick, and it's going to be Matt Lutz.
It'd be all right with that.
I'm going to scratch Matt. Sorry, Matt.
Oh.
Let's give me Bill. I like Bill.
All right.
Give me Bill.
So you like Matt. Bill better than Matt? Okay, yeah. Fair enough.
I like
Make sure Matt hears that. No. What I heard is you like Bill better. I also heard that I like to cause trouble. Weird how that works.
Okay, Matt. Last one. Give us
your
top 8.
This is easy because I'm just going to take the top 7 fantasy players. Hayes, Matt, Joe, Greg, Mike, Drew, and Brian, and then I'll throw in Ryan Serson as the homer pick.
So you said Hayes, Matt, Joe, Greg, Mike, Drew, Brian, and Ryan Saracen. Okay. Yeah. So we got 2. Right. We got 2 people who like Ryan Saracen. Apparently, I don't like Ryan Saracen. You know what? I think it's going to be that Ryan's going to be too excited that the Steelers made the playoffs.
I think Ryan will be okay. Ryan made every card look like the snowboarder, just in honor of the bad weather we're having this weekend.
You're having bad weather because you're up in Lake Superior.
I am getting that lake effect snow that I didn't really need to experience, but here we are.
Yeah.
So that's I stayed on the shore of Lake Superior because the entire town is built on a giant hill, and going from the top to the bottom is terrifying on icy roads.
Well,
So
that's
it's
a
because
valid reason.
it's just a straight shot. It's not like driving down a mountain where it's a bunch of curves. It's about a mile straight downhill, and yeah, you could not pay me enough to do that in a snowstorm. Like that's a hit a building or you are swimming in a great lake. There's no in between. So, no, this weekend's going to be a blast. I'm super looking forward to.
I am too, but
watching and streaming and just having fun
and making fun of players.
I mean, making fun of people in general, but yeah, sure, the players. So.
Okay, Matt. So it's that time of the night where we go and we do our little trivia contest. Normally, it's either guessing what the underlying card of a V card is, what the lore is, or tonight you're going to have what is the 7 side of the objective. So we give you the objective. You'll have 45 seconds to tell me what the 7 side of it is.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so your objective for tonight is the Twin Sons of Tatooine. Your 45-second timer starts now.
Well trained in the dark arts. Well trained in the. Yeah, I think it's something like well trained in the dark arts.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well trained in the Jedi arts. What do you say, Garrett? I'm gonna give it.
I didn't know what the front side was called, so.
Well, was he close enough?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give that to him.
Yeah, I know the backside has a picture of Maul on it as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like the backside, they redid the backside of it.
And with Maul's not a Jedi.
Yeah.
So that's just us making funny pictures.
Actually, you know what? This doesn't make any sense because the line is talking about Grievous, and yet we have Maul on the objective. That makes no sense. I just realized that. Like,
I call shenanigans.
I call shenanigans. Yeah, just for that reason alone, I'm going to make sure you win.
Yeah,
I blame Chris Kelly.
We should.
Yeah, because mostly he's down in Atlanta and we're not.
Yeah, he's basking in the. It's probably dark down there too. Assuming at almost 10 o'clock at night. So
he's basking in the glory of designing all the games.
Yeah.
So speaking of upcoming events, so I know that in April is the Eclipse event out in Indiana. Garrett, you and I have talked about this numerous times on the show before. So Matt, are you going to be attending that one?
Nope.
When do you come out? When's the next event? When are we going to see you?
If there's a East Coast event in the summer, I would go. I'm having my wife and I are having a baby boy at the end of March. So
congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. That makes sense.
Thanks.
That does seem like a valid reason to miss an early April event.
So we're not going to see Gritty unless in the summer.
Correct.
So okay, if there is a summer event on the East Coast, will you bust out the Gritty?
Probably. It's kind of hot to do it in the summer, though. That's why it was better to do at the Fall Worlds event.
That's fair.
That does seem reasonable. That was a warm costume, I'm betting.
I mean, what? I mean, it's the perfect weather to bust it out right now. You stay warm all day.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. So I think that's all we got for tonight. Next week, we're going to talk to the winner of the first ever Supreme Southern Showdown. So make sure you guys tune into that. Until that, everybody make sure you tune in on Saturday for day 1, and then tune in on Sunday as well. So till then, enjoy yourselves, be safe, and as always, may the Force be with you. Good night.
Yep.